Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is James. So I'm continuing on now with this Barnstormer 25S build log, and I am on the wing, and I'm hoping I can increase, kind of step it up a bit and try to get this plane finished. It's taken me a little bit longer than I thought it would. I was taking a break from this because I was working on my Revolver, my Great Plains Revolver 60, doing the landing gear repair, and I decided on that one I'm actually going to buy a new set of landing gear for it, because I noticed that the one that I had a little crack in it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm waiting for that to come in the mail. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and jump back on this thing and see if we can get this wing built. Okay, when I last left this, I was talking about how I was going to approach putting the wing together, and I was thinking about using, going ahead and setting up this spar and sort of using it as like sort of a spine, and then putting the ribs on this and then putting it all together. But I was looking at the plane a little bit further, and lo and behold, I was looking at the instructions, and yeah, go figure, right? So I was looking at the instructions, and I think it would be better to actually to put the wing together by putting the ribs into the leading and trailing edge first, and then put it on here. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start by putting the ribs on top of the leading edge, and then we're going to put the trailing edge on top of that. Okay, so I will be using CA glue, so I am going to be wearing my gloves. So let's go ahead and start putting, I'm going to start with this side here and carefully plug these in here. All right, so this last one is going to be, this is W1, which is the smaller profile rib. Okay, so here's our, now these aren't glued obviously. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the, try to get the trailing edge on here. Don't know exactly the best way to do this. I think it's just going to be a matter of playing with it. So I'm going to get this one on. Okay, well, that was easy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the this bottom one on, and actually, I'm going to try to see where I can put it, starting about here. And probably could have done it the way I was thinking about doing it, but anyhow. This will work. Cool. All right. That. And then I'll put the top one on. See, I can see already that I actually kind of, I need to push this over a little bit. I don't know how easy that's going to do it. I can't do it. Ugh. I got to pull this off and do it again. I got to. Okay. Now let's go ahead and flip her back over this way. And put the top on. In fact, I should probably mark that one too. Put that back there. And I'll put you right about here. Okay. And let's go here. Okay, so these are little smaller ones I can put up here for a second. So there's the wing, kind of roughly framed. So the next step is I think a good idea now is I want to make sure everything is aligned, and I don't want it to, kind of move over like that. So I'm going to go ahead and pin down. Now I'm going to go back to kind of what I was thinking about originally. I'm going to go ahead and sort of pin down this spar, this lower spar, and that'll act sort of like a again, it'll act sort of like a backbone. And then once I get that on, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to look down on the plan and try to line up and make sure everything's lined up nicely, and then get everything all set, and then we'll hit it with the CA. All right, let's put some pins in here. And what I'll do is I'm going to pin it just sort of on the edges of that spar. Okay, so I have that somewhat pinned down. Now I'm going to use, I have a couple sort of like these metal blocks. Now this block right here, this is a machinist block. This is, I don't know what they call these things, but you can look it up. It's just it's like a square, and machinists use these to help them keep things, I guess to hold parts together and keep things kind of straight when they're doing certain types of like machining operations on a milling machine or whatever. But you can find these, I think they're called like mill blocks or machinist blocks. They're pretty inexpensive, but they're true. They're perfectly square, hopefully. So I'm going to use these because they're heavy, and I'm going to start I'm going to place them sort of like right up against these spars and use it as sort of a brace, and try to use it to sort of keep everything nice and straight. Since this thing's all kind of connected, I think if I can just kind of straighten up this side and do the same thing on this side, everything will kind of just follow along with that, and hopefully that will work. Let me try right here. Something like that. So let me take a look at this. I'm going to spend a little bit of time trying to get everything lined up, and then we can glue it. Okay, so what I've been doing is I've been using these different squares I have and trying to just go through each one of these, looking down on the plan and kind of eyeballing it and making sure that things are straight. I'll take this is just from a square, and I'm using this to just place it down on the plan, put it up against the rib, and just go to each one of these and make sure that they're kind of standing straight. Because of the way these interlock on here, there's not a lot of room for them to move. They're kind of locked in, but again, you still can have something. You can have something go on, if you're not careful. You can get it. It could tweak a little bit. So I just want to make sure that they're straight. Now, one thing I have to remember: these two ribs right here have the smaller profile because they have to account for the sheeting. So back here, where they attach to the trailing edge spar, they're a little bit thinner. So I just have to make sure that it's not too high up or too low. Whereas these ones are going to be flush because there's no sheeting there. So same thing here in the front, but I don't have to worry about the front because they're attached straight on. But so these ones can slide. They can slide up and down, and they're not flush, so they're not the same thickness. So if they're down too low or too high, then I'll have to do some trimming and stuff on the rib when I put the sheeting in. But I don't want to do that. So obviously I'm trying to keep those center. Okay, so I realized I had these really big T-pins, so I'm going to put these back here. And I'm going to use these to hold in. Just basically, I'm going to try to use these to brace it. So let me put some of these in. There we go. And this will help keep it all together. Okay, so I think I have this all kind of secured. So we can see I use these T-pins. I forgot that I had these ones. These are pretty, at first I didn't think I was ever going to use these. I think these are like 2-inch T-pins. So if you don't have a set of T-pins, get some of those when you're building. But Anyway, I went through and I made sure everything was aligned, and trying to make sure we're looking down on it. I may have to go back and do some here, like some little bit of adjustments, like that one right there. And then back here, so this is what I was talking about. So these two spars here are a little bit smaller profile. So I want to make sure that when I put my sheet on here, that it's flush, like that. So yeah, so I want to make, so in other words, so these can slide up and down obviously, and they're smaller and they're thinner, so I wanted to make sure that they're flush with the trailing edge when I put the sheeting on. So I just did a check there. So all right, so I think we're close. I think we can start gluing this together. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start gluing. I'm using one of these little applicator tip things on the end of my CA bottle to help keep it from going crazy. So let's go. Take my time. There. Okay. Why don't I go around the corners? Then I'll come back and kind of hit everything in between. Thin CA is really good because of course it soaks into the wood nicely, so give it a good soak. Okay, I'll go around the front here. Cool. Now, I want to make sure when I do this, I don't glue these guys on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on here and then move it out of the way. There we go. And again, I think I'll kind of hit the middle, then I'll go to the sides, and then there. That one. All right, that's cool. Make sure all these are down nicely. Okay. Now for the middle ones. Press down. It's good that I have that wax paper down because, or that parchment paper down, because it's gonna make it so that the wing doesn't glue itself to the table. Boy, whoever invented CA glue was a genius. Okay, good. I think that's all right. So if you want to save your little applicators, now, and I realize they're not that expensive. You can buy a package of them for whatever they are. I think there's like, I don't know how much, $5-6 or something for a package of whatever, 50 or something. But I kind of like to save stuff. So you can just drop it in a little jar of acetone, like that. Let it sit in there, and you can just leave it overnight. Leave it inside there. And then what you do is the next day, or next time you take it, you just take it out with a pair of tweezers, and then just kind of tap it on some like a paper towel or something, and it'll be clean, like brand new. So if you want to save those things, that's a good way to do it. Just be careful with the acetone; it's not the best stuff to be playing with. All right, so now I'm going to put in these little braces that go in along the inner part of the wing here, and I just realized it would have been a good idea to actually do those while I did this alignment part, because obviously they're square, so that would have helped keep everything straight. So on the next side, on the next wing size, the next wing panel, we'll do it that way. But anyhow, let's go ahead and get these ready, and we will put them in the wing. Okay, so I have these little our little guys here. Got those cut. Let me give them a quick little sand. Those on here. Yeah. All right, so these are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slide right in here. One. And I'll get these, I'll check them. Okay. Interesting. And once again, I was reading. So the instructions to this wing the instruction is just this little paragraph here, and they leave a couple things out. But I noticed that they don't want you to put these in until after the whole wing is assembled, or at least the two halves are put together. I'm not sure why that is. I don't see a reason why you would have to wait, but I didn't make this kit. So I'm going to follow the instructions and take this out and leave these until later. Okay, so I think the next step for me then is going to be to glue these little sub spars on, which are these. Let me put a couple T-pins in here to hold the spar down before I glue it. Okay. Good. All right, I did notice that I have a little bit of a this one piece right here is not. It's the notch in the rib is a little bit too big, so this little spar is just floating there. So I'm going to go ahead and use this little like I talked about before, some baking soda, and I'm going to try to fill this in. So I'm going to put a little bit more CA on there. I'm going to get this guy. I'm just going to tap it on there. Kind of brush it around. I'm going to do a little bit more. Your brush touches that, and then you're going to end up gluing, getting all that CA in there while it's curing. And you can actually, if you get it quick enough, I think you can clean it in acetone, but that's good like that though. Yeah, that works really well. Put a little bit more in there. Okay. In fact, I may do that on a few other ones of these. Like this one here. Okay. Good. So let me flip this over and we'll do the other side. All right, let's see how we did here. All right, well, that's looking really good. I won't look at it too closely because if it is a mistake, I don't want to see it, right? I'm going to put this over here. And now we can put this other spar on this side. Now these spars are a little bit, they're kind of long, so you have room to work on both sides. Just got to make sure that you're not too short on the inside, because then you'll screw up when you connect your wing halves. But you'll have some coming off the back here. I mean, they'll stick out on both sides. All right, good. All right, cool. So let me secure this down a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and glue it. All right, so help keep it from rocking around, I'm just going to go and kind of use the T-pins to sort of clip it to the board. I'm being a little bit liberal with the CA. Let it kind of soak in. Let it kind of give it a good shot. Okay, good. And now since we have it upside down, I'm going to go around and glue all these pieces back on the bottom, or it was the bottom before. It looks like it did pretty good anyhow, but let's just do it. It's not going to hurt. Okay. Okay, so I think this is good for now. I'm going to leave it here for today, and then when we come back, we will do we'll put there's some pieces that go in the tip in the end here, and then probably do some just rough trimming to get some of these pieces off of here, and then we can start on the other wing. And I think we don't do any of the sheeting and everything until we get the two wing halves put together. So the next step is going to be really just to build the other wing.